What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Momentum Sports Podcast. It's me, Derek, and our good friend Sam. He's joining us. He may be joining more often. We don't know yet. He's a big Boise guy, so he's going to kind of break down eventually in this pod some of the Genty and, the possibilities of, Genty being a Heisman contender. So that being said, you guys ready to get into some of these games? Some of these
sure.
arguments,
Oh yeah.
discussions?
Let me put the spotlight on me. Bam. There you go. Because I know I'm going to say all the good stuff. We gotta have the spotlight.
All right. We need to put a dark screen on Derek. No, just kidding. So let's start with the Vanderbilt game. From watching that game, for me at least, when I tuned in after it had started and I saw Vandy was up, and I was just like, I just want to finish this. I want to see what happens. I had picked Vanderbilt to beat the point spread, which was 23, and Derek over here was laughing about it last week, but I was curious. I wanted to see how close Vandy could keep it. I knew that Bama was going to come out in the third quarter and start, hitting them hard, and I wanted to see how Vandy would respond. And it was crazy how Vandy responded, how on a fourth down they threw a bomb deep into the end zone. It was awesome. They kept scoring.
He's going to hit, too, the pressure in his face to throw that.
I know, dude. It was awesome to see. Derek was trying to tell us that there was a fluke game. No, it wasn't. These boys outplayed them
10, they were
three out of the fourth quarter. 3 quarters. They outplayed them. Vandy was ready.
They won all 4 quarters. I told you they didn't.
Okay, sorry. They won 3 quarters. So anyway, That's not a fluke. That's just better game preparation and the will to win. That's what that was. Congratulations to Vandy. I had to watch it all the way through. Even when they got the ball again with a minute left or so, I had to make sure that they weren't going to fumble the snap or try to run a run play and fumble it like Georgia Tech or whatever Georgia Tech did. I think that's what they did that last year against who was it? Was that against Clemson or Miami? I think it was. Yeah. That Georgia Tech game, I was like, man, I got to make sure Vandy does not screw this up because it's so hard to believe that they beat Alabama because you're just waiting. You're waiting for Alabama to crush their souls at the end.
Dude, it's a scheduled W every year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder how much just with the new coach, just, did they just look past it or I don't know. But they just look into the next week.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Derek?
Okay. Here's the thing. 9 times out of 10, Alabama wins that game. Alabama lost that game. They threw an interception. They had bad plays. They would run. I think they had a punt, and eventually went back to Vanderbilt. Had a punt, eventually went back to Vanderbilt because I forgot what the flag was. A lot of mistakes. Face mask going into the second quarter. It was a face mask. I mean, you got fix those mistakes because a lot of that helped. And then it got so out of hand. I mean, it was 13-7 in the second quarter, but later on in the second quarter, Vandy scored, and it was getting close out of reach. And now Alabama's in desperation mode. We know what happens when Alabama's in desperation mode.
Exactly.
They can go.
We were all waiting for it.
I mean, look at Texas. They were in desperation mode when they played home. We already know what's going to happen. But Vandy just got lucky with all those mistakes Alabama was doing, and it led to that. I guarantee
that was not luck. That was not luck.
Any other game they play Vanderbilt, they would have won. This was just
I agree.
A fluke.
It was not a fluke, man. They got outplayed. They got out willpowered. Alabama did not know what to do. They could not keep up with what Vanderbilt was handing them. Their defense, Alabama's defense, they're in trouble. Alabama's defense, they did this to Georgia too. This isn't a fluke. This happens to Alabama. They give up big points and big plays. Their defense is frauds. They got frauds on the defense. Sam, tell them they have frauds on the defense.
don't think they have frauds, but yeah, they've been struggling.
Yeah.
Also, can we
Yeah.
not shout out the fact that they put up the Nick Saban video on
Oh,
the
that's
scoreboard?
awesome. Yeah.
That's too good.
But you know about the mill row. He didn't row his boat this time.
Yeah. He wasn't rowing that boat. Is Milrow knocked out of the Heisman? Out of
No,
the
he's
after
like
No, I
this?
don't. No,
he's like
because
a
I
fifth
think
spot.
he's got
I
opportunities
think
to have a lot of Heisman moments that I think other
That's
people
true.
like. Cam Ward can do it, but I mean, it's just in the SEC. Like, there's just so much ranked teams. There's just going to be a lot of opportunity for him to have those moments, and we've already seen some from him. So,
Yeah.
like, you never know what to
mhm.
expect. But I think it's likely that I think him over Cam Ward personally. I know a lot of people have Cam Ward. They
Hmm.
kind of have Milrow last right now, but um, yeah, I think Milrow can do it. Can definitely rise,
Yeah,
but I don't think he can win it though. Well,
we all
we'll see.
we all know who the Heisman winner should have been. Come on, Quinn Ewers. If he didn't get hurt, now 2 games, he'd still
Hey,
be the favorite.
he's still listed. Yeah, no, he's still listed in the
He's,
odds.
but
So
he's not getting it being 2 games out. It's not happening. I don't care how bad you beat Georgia, how bad you beat A&M, how bad you
Oh,
beat
whoa, whoa,
Oklahoma.
no! I disagree
all right,
with you
what
there.
if though?
If he crushes Georgia, he most
Not with
definitely is going to be in that conversation.
not with
Yeah,
a
If he
running back that's
crushes
getting 200
OU,
yards a game.
yeah.
like if they go on an absolute tear, he's definitely going to be in that conversation,
No,
Derek.
no, no, not with the running back getting $200 game. By the way, we're going to talk about this later.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
get
yeah.
into that
We'll get more
discussion.
into that later, but
Yeah.
um, so Sam, do you think that this game was a fluke?
I mean, I think I
Don't
agree
say
that
it.
Bama should win 9 times out of
Yeah,
10,
yeah.
but I mean, but I agree with you in the sense that like just ultimate guts and like the will, like I mean, it's their Super Bowl kind of. I think
Hmm.
so. It's like I mean, they showed up and it's like and they finished. It's like we've seen other teams. Like I think back to the what was it, Kentucky Georgia game? Where
Yeah,
it's like comes down to the wire and it's just like you. I mean, some of that's coaching, but it's like they kind of lost the will at the end.
yeah,
And just the fact that Vandy was able to finish it, that's pretty cool.
yeah, yeah. It was, man. It was so cool. I was stoked. Yeah, it was awesome.
And I want to say I just love to see Bama lose because I'm a hater, but
Hmm.
like you guys have been way too successful. It's time to finally let somebody else
Yeah.
take a spin.
No, I
We'll
get
see.
it. I get it. So let's talk here. Does this hurt the SEC? I know it was an
Mm,
SEC game and an SEC loss, but the fact that the top SEC team lost to not the bottom of the SEC this year, but like what is generally considered the bottom of the SEC. Everybody, when they talk about the bottom of the SEC, Vanderbilt is that free game that everybody, talks about. No disrespect to Vanderbilt. We're happy that happened. But, let's be honest here. It's usually Vandy that we're talking about that you can't lose to if you want to have a good season.
Mm-hmm.
I think that with the expanded playoffs, it's not that much. It's not as big of a deal
Mm-hmm.
as it used to be for
Mm-hmm.
Bama to have dropped this. Like I
Right.
really do think that even with this loss, like there's still a good chance that they could make the playoffs. And so
They
I
have
don't
a
think
worse
overall,
chance.
I don't think it hurts the SEC. You
No,
think it's a
it
worse chance?
does hurt. It does hurt the SEC. I understand. The Big 12 looks great right now. They got all these undefeated, and yet they haven't played anybody. But so the only team Alabama has actually played was Georgia. The only
Right.
team Georgia's actually played was Alabama. You
Alabama.
know,
Yeah.
and we're
Yeah,
about to find out what the Big Ten's going to be. Oregon, Ohio State. That's
Yeah.
coming up this week.
yeah.
So yeah,
I
So
just yeah.
So do you think Bama can get in with three losses? If they drop
oh,
2 more games, can they get in?
It depends on
oh,
who. I guess it depends
I
on who. That's
so I'm
yeah.
gonna I'm gonna pull that up real quick, but I'm pretty sure that they play Tennessee. Yeah, they play at Tennessee. They play at LSU. They play at Oklahoma. They play against Missouri at home. They play the end of the game against Auburn, and you know how that game could go. Like, let's say that they beat Tennessee, they beat Missouri, They beat
Where's OU
LSU.
ranked though? Yeah, where's OU ranked if they lose to Texas though? Like,
Yeah,
They're not
that's
even
the
ranked.
dang,
thing.
that's
So
actually
let's
even
say that
crazier
their
if they
two
win.
losses, like their two additional losses, are LSU and Auburn. So they lose to LSU for their second loss after beating Tennessee on the road, coming back and beating Missouri. They lose to LSU. They beat Mercer. Then they go and they beat. Did I say beat LSU? I meant lose to LSU. You come
And they
beat
lose.
Mercer. You beat OU, and then you lose to Auburn. Do you skate in there having beaten Tennessee on the road, having beaten Georgia, and hosting Missouri? I don't know where Missouri is going to be ranked, if at all, but I would
Yeah, they're on
still
throttle.
I would still
Well, if
consider that a possible quality win.
well, if
Because Missouri will
they
probably
beat
be an
LSU.
8-9 win team.
If they lose to LSU, they're still in. If they lose any other games after that, they're not in because the Vanderbilt killed their three loss ability to get in.
So
If they
they're
lose to any other
automatically
team,
in with two, right? Two losses,
yeah,
they're automatically still in, no matter what,
yeah,
no matter where
you
that
can't have
loss
a
is.
you can't have a Vanderbilt loss and get in with three losses. It's just like Notre Dame. You can't have a Northern Illinois and get
Well,
in with two losses.
I mean, unless you win the championship. What if it like think about the Pac-12 used to they cannibalized each other like every year. You know, uh, it was kind of hard to. It's like what happens if we get a couple of or like a 2-loss or 3-loss SEC champion?
It's
Like,
not gonna be a two loss a team in the championship because guess what? Texas A&M is undefeated. You know, undefeated in the SEC. They win
Yeah.
out for some miracle reason and lose to Texas. They're going to be one loss, and they're still getting in.
mm,
You can see it back to back. Texas A&M, Texas game.
All right, we'll get there, Derek. Yeah, I want to see here with this Alabama situation, like what scenario can they get in with 3 losses, if at all? Like, Derek, do you see there being? Are you saying there's no way? Because I could
And
see that if they significantly look better, and let's say Vanderbilt wins 8 games this year, I don't know if that's going to happen. Let's just say 7. If Vanderbilt wins 7 to 8 games this year, then and Bama loses at the end of the season, let's say to Auburn and like maybe at LSU, would the
there's no way.
committee have Alabama bias and put them in?
The only way that happens is Vanderbilt beats another top team.
Hmm.
yeah, I was gonna say
Then
I have to look at their
their
schedule.
game. They got
Okay.
Texas. They're not beating Texas. Texas in 3 weeks.
Yeah,
Can you imagine though?
I know.
Oh
Wouldn't that
my!
be
That'd be
awesome?
bad. Can you imagine Texas
Yeah.
beating Oklahoma and Georgia, then losing to Vanderbilt? Then
That
we're
Oh,
all
sounds
that'd
going
be
to
sick.
talk about
awesome.
Please, I just want
we're
chaos.
all going
Chaos is
we're all
Please,
going to
what
talk
please let
about
that
how
happen.
Georgia's just bad luck. After you beat
Oh
this is how
Tennessee,
man,
you're going to
Boise
lose
Derek,
to
Boise.
we
This is
would
how
love to
Boise gets.
see your reaction to this. Oh man, we would
I'll
love
be
to
so
see
pissed.
all this anti Vanderbilt talk that you're coming out over here saying that they're just this fluke team and they take on the horns and take them down. Oh man, that'd be such a
Mm,
bittersweet moment.
yeah.
Um, okay, so what team cannot afford? Is there a team in the top 4 conferences that cannot afford 2 losses to get
So
into the
Big
playoff?
12, Big 12
Probably Big
ACC.
12. Big 12 because they're going to consider them the weakest of the them in the ACC, but uh
I still feel like a 2-loss Big 12 team
Miami.
could get in.
Nope. Nope. They're getting let the
No,
crowd. Nope.
you've already
Nope.
made up your mind, Derek. I see.
It's. I mean, I'm not the only one making up my mind. Well, everybody thinks that.
All right, so let's go to that Arkansas Tennessee game. That after Vanderbilt, blew up the weekend and made this weekend what was actually everybody was actually very sad about this upcoming weekend because they thought that there were a lot of good matchups that were missing, and it turns out Vanderbilt they have that big win over Bama. So then everybody's freaking out. They're like, man, I'm going to go back to the TV and see what else happens. And then, what can I say? Those Razorbacks, they came in.
Them boys down in Fayetteville.
Yep, they came in front of what's his name? Old Kurt Herbstreit,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah. They were
yeah,
calling the game.
in
Chris
front of
Fowler.
Herbie, and exactly, Fowler and Herbie, and man, under the lights, they performed. Man, it was great to watch. When they went up 3-0, I still was like, man, this concerns me. Tennessee came out in the second half, scored 14 straight points, and it was 14-3. And I was just like, I'm done with this. I just can't. I'm tired of seeing this as a Hog fan. And then Arkansas turned on the Jets. We got it 10-14, and then Taylon Green gets knocked out. And then it's like, no, you've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. This is going to be the what if game. This is going to be what if this didn't happen. But no, we still were able to score, went up at the end of the game. Tennessee had a minute and a half left to crush some hearts in Fayetteville, and he ran out of bounds at the end of the game.
Embarrassing. Embarrassing. Like the one
he
thing,
ran
bro, just
out
chuck
of
it up.
bounds.
Just throw it up. He ran out of
Mm-hmm.
You know
Derek,
it's gonna haunt him. You know he's gonna have nightmares about that.
Oh, I know. And
Also,
and I will
yeah.
give this to Derek though, real quick, is Derek predicted that Nico was a fraud. And what were you gonna say before I cut you off, Sam? Just real quick, but then after that, Derek, I want you to kind of explain your Nico situation.
I was just gonna say how crazy it was that Taylon Green even came back in, like, and tried to play.
Dude, yeah. Like he
was
looked pretty out
humble.
of it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he was like, put me in, coach. I'll still go in there and run. And then he's like,
Yeah.
never mind, coach.
Yeah, I actually can't put any weight on this ankle yet.
Oh, man. But yeah, Derek, what's your take on old Nico? Because I remember you were not high on him. You thought he was overrated. And what's your take of just Tennessee now? Are they a top 10 team? Can they be a top 10 team? Are they top 10 frauds? Where are they, and where are they going to finish this year?
I think that defense is a top 10 team. I don't think that offense is, especially with the quarterback, because and definitely with the backup, they ain't gonna go far, especially with that backup. Let me just run it with 6 seconds left and not pass it. Not give my team a chance. But here's the thing: Arkansas, they started out great. They start driving down the line. They're at the 40. All of a sudden, they
Yeah.
pass it. Like number 9, whatever his name is, he goes to the 20, and the ball comes loose. Luckily, the ball went out of bounds
Yeah.
and not somewhere else. You got a hole in the ball. But after that, they get
you
another
saw that,
play.
Derek.
Yeah,
you saw
after
that, huh?
yeah. After that, they get down to like the 10 or the 6 or something like that, and your quarterback he goes over there. No, it was a touchdown. We're looking this place. He goes to the right. He passes to the
Mm-hmm.
receiver, but he didn't just pass it to him. He passed it low, and now 4th down. Now they got to kick
Yep.
a field goal. That was a good drive. They could have capitalized on 7, but they didn't.
Yep.
So they got 3 points. Then the whole first half, that's all it was. 3-0. And in the second half, Tennessee starts taking over. And next thing
Mm-hmm.
you know, Tennessee is up 14-3. And
Yep.
then later on, it's like 14-10. And you can't do that to teams like Texas. You can't do that to teams like Alabama or Georgia. You're going to get beat. And Arkansas, great win. It's not happening all the time. I guarantee you play that crap on offense, you're not going to do well. You need to check that quarterback you have and find a new one because he ain't the new VY. Because VY would never done that.
Well, we're
What was
trying to
the?
talk about Nico here, not Taylon Green hate over here. But
Yeah.
what
Well,
were you
Nico,
saying, Sam?
Oh, I
Nico,
was gonna say, who had the more time of possession? Did
Arkansas
Tennessee have the ball
by
mostly? Arkansas.
no, Arkansas did by a while. I'll pull it up real quick, but yeah,
well, like I said, Arkansas had it because they couldn't capitalize at the when it mattered. It was
Well,
so short.
yeah. Well, I'm just thinking
Yeah,
against like some of these like elite teams are going to play like offenses. Like you're going to have to just stop them from getting on the field. And so it's like I
Yeah,
want like you want sustain, but of course, like what Derek's saying, like you got to actually capitalize on it. You got to have sustained drives that still turn into
right.
points.
And Green did miss a couple wide open reads in the end zone. And that's kind of just been his story is he's kind of a run first guy. He kind of tries to run instead of looking um down all of his reads, and he misses some wide open wide receivers. Actually, Arkansas has some very good wide receivers in a tight end room that's very good too. So about the time of possessions, Arkansas
And that
had
game, right?
35 minutes.
Quinn
Mhm.
Jackson, he's got some good. I think he's like
Yeah,
third in rushing yards, honestly.
yeah,
Well,
he
I'm not
was
really
leading
third.
the
Fourth.
SEC until last week, I think.
Mhm.
So he's one of the SEC's top running backs right now. Arkansas had 35 minutes possession, 35 minutes, 30 seconds, and Tennessee had 24 minutes and 30 seconds. So Arkansas had 11 minutes more than Tennessee. Um, that adds up. That's a lot of time. That's a lot of extra time. Tennessee just could never get in a rhythm on offense, and that was kind of the story. Is if you can keep the possession, on your side of the field or with your offense, Tennessee has a hard time
Yeah,
getting in rhythm.
just control the game.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But here's the thing: when Arkansas scored that one touchdown in the third quarter to actually get and make it 14-10,
Yeah,
that was not a touchdown. Uh, uh, so basically, what happens when he's hands off the ball to the running back, you can see he goes in, his elbow drops to the ground before his ball went over into the end zone. That should have never been a touchdown.
they reviewed it.
Yeah, they have horrible reviewers. That was no. His elbow was down.
Jaquindon Jackson's elbow is never down.
Uh-huh. Yeah, by his Arkansas fan over here.
Uh, hey man, we got that thing
Mhm.
verified.
Yeah, you got lucky. Probably not enough
But
evidence.
Derek, what's your take on Tennessee overall? And you too, Sam. What do you guys think Tennessee is at? Are they contenders in the SEC? What happens with Tennessee moving forward?
But I think Tennessee's defense is the savior for
Hmm.
that team. It's just they're just gonna have to find a spark on that offense, and their line's gonna have to block because you get into let's say they make it the championship and they go ahead and play Texas in the SEC championship. Guess what? Texas has good pass rushers. You can't do that. You can't let
Derek,
them through.
you don't have to compare everybody to Texas, all right? you
Hey, number one, I am comparing them to
Yeah,
everything. It's like,
I guess that's
well,
fair, but it's just like, bro, they're number one right now. We don't know, man. They have not played
they're the
anybody.
standards of the best team, so you gotta compare it to that.
Yeah.
y'all
They
think
do
if
right.
you yeah, do y'all think if Ohio State beats Oregon and Texas beats OU that they'll move Ohio State ahead of UT?
It depends. It depends. It all
Yeah.
depends on how bad. If it's a close game or Ohio State wins a close game and Texas blows out OU, I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I agree with
Yeah,
If
that.
see,
oh,
I want
if
Oregon to
Oregon,
win, but I think Ohio State's going to actually have a statement. Like I know this is their first like
I do
test,
too.
I
Yeah.
think that they're gonna.
mhm,
I think they're gonna decimate them, and
I,
it's
I
gonna be
think
like a
Ohio
yeah,
State has been wanting this moment for so many years where it's all just, snowballing of they are so ready to finish this thing. Like Ryan Day is like one of the winningest coaches right outside of Kirby Smart and has like no championship to show for it. So I think this might be Ohio State's year, and I agree with you. I think that they're going to make a statement this weekend. And on the road, I don't really know if Oregon is a championship caliber team or contender, but I do
hey,
think that
Boise played Austin,
Oregon.
bro. They played on the road too, and that's why I'm like,
Mhm.
Ohio State's gonna. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's gonna be.
mhm,
I don't know. Do you think Oregon's a top 10 team?
Mm,
mm,
well,
mm.
I don't know. It just depends, honestly. It's hard to tell. We're still kind of early. I know we're like.
I
I
know.
know it's week 5, but
Yeah.
we're gonna get a real test, like us seeing, because so many people are just barely starting their conference play. Like
I I do
so.
think Oregon is better than OU. I will say that. So Ohio State winning at Oregon, if they're both close games, I would put Ohio State ahead of Texas just because on the road, a bigger environment where Texas is playing a neutral field, and OU is just. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I just don't think OU is like a top 15 or top 10 team. Watching them, they went on the road to Auburn and they escaped out of there with a win. They did not dominate
Mhm.
Auburn. Auburn should have won that football game, or OU escaped out of there. So I just I don't think this is a big enough win if Ohio State beats Oregon,
I
and,
don't know,
and
but
Texas barely beats OU.
see, OU's defense is really good. I really still believe that.
Yeah,
So, if that offense clicks for them at that time, if they ever play Oregon,
right.
Oregon loses.
But I'll give Texas this, like they have teams on their schedule to prove everybody wrong, including me, who's skeptical of them. Like if they beat
Yeah.
Georgia, it's like number one, put them at number one. Like if they beat OU, Georgia, they won on the road at Michigan. That's a good enough resume for me to stay number one if you're undefeated with those wins. You
But
know,
what's scary is
but if you
Ohio State.
drop one of those, then what was that, Derek? My bad.
What's scary is Ohio State. They have that receiver who can catch one-handed every time, and
Yeah,
you can't have that
Jeremiah
guy.
Smith, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
guys?
dude,
scary.
he's crazy good, bro. He's
He
like
he's
he's a
good.
one-on-one, like
Did you
yeah.
guys see that one catch that he had? That it was a really cool in the end zone one armed grab, but dude, he was stiff arming the defender with his other arm. Even though it was such a great catch, and he had a couple of these, but of great one arm grabbed. It wasn't just this one, but there was one that got a lot of hyped, and it was like, bro, you are stiff arming the defender. That is offensive pass interference. I don't know if you guys saw that, but like to me, I just had to call that one out. But outside of that one, he does seem to kind of push to get some separation sometimes. I have noticed that with him. But I mean, still incredible skills and like definitely one of the most talented wide receivers out there. It's just sometimes I do feel like he's going to start getting on, or he's going to start tacking on some of those offensive pass PIs possibly.
Mhm.
Bro. Yeah, it's like what's up with all these 17-year-old just like phenoms, like with
Yeah.
the Alabama one as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. I hope that they stay. Like just
Yeah.
like, I know it's hard for people to say 4 years anymore. Well, I mean, we got a bunch of like 7, 8 year quarterbacks out in the league right now, but
Right.
you know, um,
Um,
when you're just that
mm,
good, like just go pro. I hope they stay just because like that legacy and just how cool it is to see what they're doing in college.
Depends how much they think they're gonna make in the NFL because these NIL
Yeah.
deals can give them a lot more money.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
And then Ohio State has Judkins too from Ole Miss, the
Mhm.
running back from Ole Miss. It's like, dude,
yeah.
they're so loaded, and their defensive coordinator's legit. Like they've got a stacked defense. Um, and defense wins championships, and they've got a very potent offense too. It's just like, dude, they're stacked on both sides of the field. It's not quite that LSU team that had Burrow and all them, but it's kind of similar, as in you've got the skill players on both sides of the field that can just torch you, man. Um, that
Dude,
that
we're gonna end
Ohio
up with a
State team is
UT Ohio
dangerous.
State championship or something.
Easy now. I'm just
No,
saying, pump the brakes on UT, man. Okay, so here's the thing. Just
bro, their
because you
defense.
haven't played anybody doesn't mean that you're not good. But I don't want to start handing people their flowers for beating these not so good teams. If they go and beat OU and then they beat Georgia, sure, I'll be over here. I'll be the first one to be like, hey, I was skeptical of UT, but they've proved it to me. UT is one of those programs that they always get the nod of the head of, hey, we'll put you in the top 10 at the beginning of the season. We'll rank you every year. And there are plenty of years that UT does not, follow through on that ranking. So I'm just
Yeah,
always a
Texas
little
was not.
skeptical of them.
Well, here's the
I don't
thing
know. This year
is,
just seems different.
compared to the rest of the SEC, Texas is the one team in the SEC that hasn't had a close game. So, I mean, to a mediocre
Again,
team.
Derek, I would not start counting your chickens yet because the toughest part of UT's schedule is starting next week.
And I think,
Michigan was not your tough part of the schedule. They
well,
just
Yeah,
weren't.
here's the
Michigan's
thing.
awful, but
They're not very good.
OU game, it's a 14.5 point favorite. I mean, Texas is, but we all know that majority, 80-90% of those matches is always going, you want to bet with the plus
Yeah.
because it's going to be a lot
Let's not get
closer.
into that because we're going to get into more of that game in our top 25. We also probably should have done that for the Ohio State game, but we'll try to do that next. I guess with this, we will go into the Heisman talk. Again. All right, guys. So now let's get to that Heisman conversation here. Sam, this is whenever you brag on your boy Genty. What's up with this man? What has he been doing? Why does he deserve that trophy? Why does he deserve it?
Listen, even if you don't want to say he's going to win the Heisman, you just got to watch him play because he's just one of the most like electric players I've ever seen. Like watching culture, I've just never seen a running back make so many people miss. Like his signature move is literally a stiff arm, and it literally is like the Heisman. Like he just has all of these natural gifts that like all just culminate into like I swear a perfect running back.
Right.
And it's just crazy to see like there's a lot of like crazy things being said like generational player, and it's like dude, you might be like I mean he's having a season that we haven't seen it since Barry Sanders, and he's not even playing the second half of these games. Like
I know that's what's crazy,
for
dude. He's not playing in the second half of these games, and his total yards and everything are already ridiculous. They're already like what other running backs aim to do for through a bowl game.
Yeah, and averaging over 10 yards a rush, bro. What?
Yeah.
A first down every time you give this man the ball. And the fact that people know that you're going to hand it to him and you still can't stop him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Reminds me of somebody. Yeah. Reminds me of Vince Young. National championship. Everybody knew he was going to run it. Couldn't stop it.
Who predicted that Derek was going to make a Texas comparison here?
It's literally a good comparison because USC was at the time the best assembled team of all time with 2 Heisman winners, and all you had to do is just stop Vince Young and you win the game. You feel you can do that. So yeah, I say it's a good comparison.
I don't know.
But,
Vince is a quarterback. Genty is a running back. That's a bowling ball. These guys bounce off of Genty. Derek, you need to go and watch some more of Genty's film, dude.
If you want to really compare him to Barry Sanders, man, he could break Barry Sanders' record, but you know what? Barry Sanders did it in 11 games. So
yeah, and also the bowl game didn't count, and he went kind of nuts in his bowl game. I think he rushed for like over 300 yards and I swear like 5 or 6 touchdowns. Something crazy in the bowl game.
Insane.
In the bowl game, he was stunned.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he was doing it in tougher competition probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, so what do you guys think of Milroe? And then we'll put yours in this conversation and Travis Hunter. What do you think Milroe has to do? Do you think that it could still be on track if we were to guess? Where does Milroe end up just kind of moving forward? Where do some of these other guys end up moving forward? And who gets it at the end of the day from what we've seen so far?
I really don't think it's going to be a quarterback this year.
Mm.
I think I
Derek
you know there,
disagrees.
there, I think that if you have a player like Travis Hunter, right?
Yeah.
That's like we're not going to see it for a long time again. I
Mhm.
mean, you're going to give it to Milrow? Like, I mean, okay, because it's not the best. It's not like leading your team to the best record. I mean, it's the most impactful player. It's like the best player in college football. So of course you
Right.
want to be that guy. It's the difference maker
Yeah.
for your team, and winning it will, is what you want. And Colorado right now, we'll see what ends up happening with them. But the
Yeah.
fact that he's just elite on at both sides of the ball and just plays so many possessions,
He's pretty good.
I just think I
He's
just think
really
if it's not
good.
Genty, if they just
Mhm.
decide not to, like it's got to
Mhm.
be Travis Hunter. I don't think it. I don't think that they're gonna say Cam Ward, who a
Yeah. I don't
couple of
either.
iffy back to
Yeah,
back wins,
And
and
Genty's
then
leading it right now. Genty's number
yeah.
one, I think, right now.
he's the
Let me
people's
let me
favorite. I'm telling you,
let me put the case here.
Tim
Travis
Tebow,
Hunter.
Shannon Sharp, bro, they're all
No, no, no. Let
Micah
me put the
Parsons.
case here. The last guy to win the Heisman that did what Travis Hunter did was like almost 30 years ago from Michigan. Michigan had great competition. Colorado, they don't really play great competition. They haven't really been tested. And for a guy playing both ways, playing against really good teams, could he really do that? Would he be as effective with the really good teams? Probably not. Same thing with Ascenti. Yeah, Oregon is a good team, but at the time, Oregon was sloppy. He wasn't right there at doing anything. And then it all depends. Well, if Ohio State goes in there and beats the crap out Oregon, and, and and they do the same thing what Ashton Jintu did, and start running, and they can't stop the run. Now you got to take
Yeah,
that effect. Well, maybe
Mhm.
it's just the teams they were playing that he's able to do that. So
yeah,
we'll find
yeah,
out really what happens. But here's the thing: not in 95% of the time, it's a quarterback win the Heisman. You
for sure.
rarely see a
Yeah.
running back win it. I mean,
I
I
mean,
can
even
name
what
quite
was
a
the
few
last wide
running backs
receiver,
who
Devontae
won it.
Smith, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, Ricky Williams was one. Ricky Williams was actually an unusual one. When he won it, they literally lost 3 games when he won it in the season. I mean, that doesn't happen.
Hmm.
So, especially a
Down
running
years.
back,
Yeah,
you know. But you got Ash Ginny as one, Travis Hunter's 2,
Mhm.
Cam Moore is predicted Vegas odds is FanDuel odds as the third best odds, and then you got Jalen Milrow as the fourth favorite odd in FanDuel, and then there's Dylan Gabriel, and
no,
we
no,
go
I
down
can't
to
believe Dylan Gabriel's in there. So yeah,
yeah, but we can go down there like Carson Beck, Jackson Dart,
Mhm.
Quinn Ewers is like in 10th spot
yeah,
on
their
FanDuel.
stock can all rise too. Like, you know what I mean? So because if Georgia beats Texas, like yeah, Carson Beck can. I mean, he came back, against Bama. Like he
Yeah.
looked rattled, and he came back. So it's like he can have those Heisman moments too.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
here's the thing. I want to ask you. Let's throw out a scenario. Let's say Quinn Ewers got hurt before the season started, and Arch Manning was in, and they're in this spot right now where they're at because Arch Manning has done pretty well. Would Arch Manning be the front runner for the Heisman?
At this moment, even if he was the starter, I still don't think he would be it. But I will tell you that the media narrative for it would be nuts. Like they'd be
Yeah, I
pushing
know.
Arch Manning like crazy. Like,
Mhm.
Hmm.
and that's what I was gonna say. I wonder if he even is gonna play it all the rest this year. I mean, I hope Quinn does play because I think he's earned it. But
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm not gonna say that they would ever pull him for Arch, but just if he's like not all the way healthy. Um, but I still think that he would probably be at because what Ashton Genty's doing right now through 5 weeks is just so unheard of that I still think
Yeah.
if Arch was the quarterback, they still wouldn't, until at least they play OU and some better competition. Then
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe it would change.
well, Arch Manning will definitely next year, especially when Quinn Ewers go out, because he's going to be a first round pick. But Arch Manning will definitely be. I promise you this: Arch Manning, from his name and the way he's played and his In the first 2 starts, he got better and better, and he did more than Quinn Ewers did in the amount of games that he did, with more rushing touchdowns, more passing yards, and all that. Uh, uh, Arch Manning's going to be the favorite to win the Heisman starting out the season next year.
Yeah,
Guarantee it.
I agree. I agree with that. I agree with that.
So
I think
who's
he ranked
winning it
faster than
this
Tyreek,
year?
right?
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
think it's going
I
to be
think.
Travis Hunter. I think it's going to be Travis Hunter ultimately. I don't think it'll
Yeah.
be QB though.
Well,
What do you think, Derek?
I think it's be Ashton. I think it's going to
Wow,
be
really?
Ginty. Yeah, because
I think
Travis Hunter's about to get in the deep of things. They're finally actually going to
yeah,
start playing both teams, so
Yeah.
yeah.
it works.
I also
And I
think
hope
yeah,
I think the record is going to hurt Hunter as well. I
yeah,
think
they're
that,
gonna start losing.
yeah.
it's
And
going to be hard to
mhm.
put a team that's 6-6 at best, probably.
No, I won't say
and then
6-6, but
What do you
and
think
then
they're going to
too
be
with
at?
they have one loss, don't they?
Yeah.
They haven't lost in the Big 12. I mean, maybe they
Well,
lose
they
2
will.
more. Maybe they lose 2 or 3, but they're not gonna be 6-6. They might have 4 losses.
Mm, let's look.
You gotta go look that up, but,
I was
I
gonna
know
say
they're not gonna get
in favor of Ashton Genty too. I think a lot of people like to root for like the underdog and just coming from the small school on top of staying after getting all the NIL offers to transfer to the bigger schools, last year, and him choosing to stay for like the legacy he wanted to leave. Like, I think
mhm.
a lot of people, and the fact that he's a walking highlight reel. Like, I mean, every game, it's consistent.
Yeah.
Every single game, you got to tune in because it's like the fact that he can score a
Hmm.
touchdown every single time he touches the ball. He has that breakaway
Yeah.
speed. He breaks the most tackles. Like, I mean, he scored a touchdown the first time he touched the ball against Utah State last week.
Yeah.
Like the very
This is
first play. It's
Yeah.
crazy
Anybody who hasn't seen his highlights, go and check those out.
because it's like
Like,
this
I
is
for
feel like
the
we're
real.
underselling it. Like whenever people talk about his stats, it's just like ridiculous, like numbers.
well, this is what I don't agree with how the voting, ends with all these awards. They should wait till after the national championship. It's because I
Yes,
guarantee
I
you,
agree. I've said that
you
too. I
uh,
agree with that
Because
Vince
100%.
Young
compared to like
will
the high
Vince
stakes
Young
and stuff.
like for
Yeah.
instance, USC Texas. Reggie Bush won the Heisman. Guarantee you,
Yeah.
Vince Young would have won the Heisman after that championship game, hands
Yeah.
down. You know, but
Yeah.
that's why you should wait because Jinty doesn't really play competition as a lot of these other teams.
Easy now, Derek. I'm
If
telling
he
you,
goes
dude,
in
this
if he goes
guy,
into the playoffs, you're
I,
going to see a whole different story. And
Bro,
he's
I don't
pretty good, man. He's pretty
must
good.
be
This
but the
guy,
thing is, Ashton Jinty, any player that goes in the playoff is not going to play to their best
bro,
ability when they play weaker
dude,
teams.
this
They're
isn't,
going to dial down. Every player will dial down. It's just how
Derek,
bad will he dial down?
Derek, this guy is
that's
not
why he's a
some,
Heisman man. That's why he's a
yeah,
Heisman that's why he's a group of 5 Heisman. Like
dude,
this is unheard of.
he's not some small little guy that's in this little conference just, outrunning everybody with speed. This guy is a beast. Like this is a man running around in that conference.
I just want
This guy
because
is legit. He could start anywhere, dude. I'm telling you, he could.
I want to see him against Georgia's defense. You know that if they're a 12 seed, they're playing Georgia. They're
Mm,
I
playing
would love it,
Alabama.
actually.
They're
that would
playing.
be
Which I've seen Georgia
interesting.
fans talk about that too, and they're like, "This man's gonna run for 300 yards against us." I'm not even. That's
Yeah.
Georgia fans. I'm not joking. Like at least online, I've seen like funny
So
stuff
so
like that.
real quick, guys. We wanted to talk Colorado's schedule.
Yeah,
Colorado hosts Kansas State this weekend. Then they go to Arizona. They host Cincinnati. They go to Texas Tech. They host Utah. They go to Kansas, and then they finish off hosting Oklahoma State.
Kansas State, Oklahoma
they're
State, and Kansas State will be their biggest challenge right there. I think Kansas State's the best team in
Utah.
that conference.
Utah.
No, I think Kansas State's way better than Utah. But Utah I really
Dude,
think Kansas
Kansas
State.
State got waxed one of these weekends. Kansas State is not all
yeah.
that.
Well, BYU
Well,
kind of
like the
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Big 12's
BYU
whack.
waxed them.
Kansas State got the Big 12 is whack all around. But I really think Kansas State goes in to win this whole thing.
So what do you think Buffalo or not Buffalo, sorry, Colorado, the Buffaloes, what do you think that what's their final record gonna be
I don't
there?
think
They're
they win
four
the
and
Big
one right
12.
now.
I think they're gonna have some surprise wins, but I think they're gonna drop some too. Like I think it's
They
just
lose
gonna
to
be like
Utah, Kansas State. Yeah, they lose to
I don't think they
Texas.
get
yeah,
further than 6. I guess they could, but it's just
6
weird. I
wins.
just like they're at 4 right now. I mean, I don't. They could win a couple of these coming up, but like
Yeah,
I just don't think they're that good. I thought that they escaped from a Baylor
Kansas
team
3
that's
wins.
terrible. Um, like they escaped from Baylor, and Baylor is not very good. Colorado State, not very good. North Dakota State, not very good.
North
And then they
Dakota
played a
State
decent
FCS
Nebraska
school.
team. They played a Nebraska team that hasn't beaten a ranked team in like 20 years.
North
Um,
Dakota
and
State's
got
actually really
waxed.
good.
Okay, they're
North
they're
Dakota
good for
State,
FCS team, I know, but they
they've
don't
always been
play.
one of the best teams in the FCS. And if
I,
you had to put,
yeah,
if they were playing in the FBS conference, I think they would match up pretty well with a lot of teams that are in the
maybe,
group of
but we
five.
don't know that. We could do
I mean,
hypotheticals all day long, but yeah,
they gave us Trey Lance. Screw you and Carson Wentz. Ugh.
but like, look for real
And they
though.
gave us
Like,
Charlotte.
look at who Colorado has played and beat and lost to. They lost to Nebraska. How good is Nebraska? They lost 28-10 to Nebraska. They beat Colorado State. How good is Colorado State? Colorado State is let's see. Colorado State is 1 and I think they're okay. They're 2 and 3. It looks like. So they
Yeah,
beat
and against
Colorado
UTEP,
State.
who's bad in North Colorado. Northern
Yeah,
Colorado,
so
right?
like dude, these wins for Colorado ain't all that. They beat Baylor, and Baylor's. I don't think Baylor even has. Do they have 2 wins? Yeah, I think Baylor's 2 and 4. Um, and that had to go to overtime. So I don't see where you think that they're going to get all these wins, Derek.
Tech, I think they beat Tech. I think
At Tech, at Tech.
yeah, I think they beat the Tech. I think they lose to Cincinnati, Kansas State, and Utah, and they win the rest.
Look, Texas Tech isn't like they're not a super good team, but I tell you, those fans, they will show up for Colorado. They will
Bro, that's it.
show
You ever been
up.
up to Lubbock?
Yeah, dude, they will rally, man. And yeah, no, they're not winning at Tech. Yeah, no, that's not happening. But I guess we can move on from Colorado. We can get into that later down the road. But you guys saying, or Derek, you're saying you think Genty's going to win it. Sam, you think Travis Hunter's going to win it. I'm going to go with Genty as well. I just think that I don't think Colorado continues winning. I think that they're probably their ceiling is 6 or 7 wins. And hey, if they prove me wrong, they prove me wrong. But I got to see it before I start counting wins for them.
Well,
And
this is
I'm going to take
now.
Genty just because of the records.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
now. This is now what I think. Bowie
Well, I'm
State could
saying,
lose
what
to
do you
UN.
think based off of what you know now? What do you think will happen at the
Bowie
end?
State could lose to UNLV and then lose to them in the championship, and all of a sudden they're irrelevant.
Genty
Not
won't let them
relevant.
lose to
Yeah,
UNLV.
I
I'm
do
just
think Boise
saying.
runs the table, but we need we need it to be the narrative to be that Genty is pushing them into the college football playoffs,
Yeah.
and if they do get that spot, it's like okay, yeah, he is. I mean, he is one of the he's
Maybe.
easily
He's insane, dude. And God, please stay healthy. I hope he stays healthy. I hope
I
there's
know
no.
it's exciting to play him, but yeah, dude,
Yeah.
he's always been really healthy, and
I just hope
he
for
doesn't have
his
a lot of
sake
merits.
we get to see what his potential is. You know?
I mean, in the first game, bro, against Georgia Southern, where they kept it close, he had 6 touchdowns, and they needed all 6 to win. Like
Yeah.
they needed it, and he hauled out in
Yeah.
Oregon. Like almost 200 yards, the 3 touchdowns, a 70-yard one. I mean, Like he kept them in it. Like Oregon had a huge touchdown, and he gets the ball. Oregon kicks off. Boise gets the ball. They just hand it to Genty. He runs that 70-yarder, answers, is waving bye to the crowd. If we just didn't allow 2 special teams touchdowns, I mean, we lost by a field goal, and that's why Oregon does beat Ohio State. Oh, Boise stock is going to go through the roof. Like I think they're already ranked like one behind Utah right now. Like they're ranked pretty high for a group of 5.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. That's all we can do is we'll just wait and see. All right. Well, I guess with that being said, let's go to some of these other matchups and other scenarios.
Cool.
All right. So we're gonna go into now. Let's talk about Notre Dame here. In the potential of them getting to a playoff game. I don't think they can lose another game and get in. I don't think so. I think that they are locked in if they do win.
If they win out, bro, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
if they do,
and USC.
Yeah, if they win out from here, finishing with 1 loss, they're in. I don't think you can keep them out, but I don't think you can get them in with 2. So, let's see here. So they play Stanford. Is that this weekend? Yeah, Stanford is this weekend. Georgia Tech, Navy, as Derek's gonna go on about here, and he has a point. Navy is a big game. Florida State, not such a big game anymore. Virginia.
Yeah. Oh man.
Army, is Army a big game? Is that something that they should be worried about, Derek?
Army's really good too. They're right there next to Navy in the receiving votes. Navy's
Okay.
just 1 ahead of.
So, and then they finish at USC. Could they afford losing to Navy if Navy goes undefeated and get in?
No.
With the first loss to NIU.
I know.
I don't know if there's enough.
Yeah, because I mean they have some because if they beat Army, and like Derek said, if Army's legit, so Army's 5-0 right now. And Army, let's see who Army plays. So Army, they have UAB, they should win that. They play Eastern Carolina, they should win that. They should beat Air Force. I don't know about North Texas. North Texas might be interesting. Notre Dame, UTSA, Navy. Yeah. Like Army could have a 9 or 10 win season. Like that.
They're going undefeated too, possibly.
They really could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Notre Dame's schedule actually doesn't look as bad as we thought because Army and Navy are both good. Could losing to one of those, preferably Navy, because it looks like Navy is going to be the best of those 2. Could dropping one to Navy, but beating Army, beating USC, they beat Louisville. Would that be enough to spare 1 extra loss and be in there right at the 12th seed, for example?
Mm-hmm. They're not in a conference. That's what's not hurt them.
Right.
Just losing another game, no matter.
Well, they don't have to worry about losing their conference championship game. They don't see. Yeah, so some of these teams, they have 2 losses, and if they lose in that conference championship game, they're out of the playoff.
But they're not playing.
That's what sucks too.
They're not playing enough competition.
Flashback to Bama.
It's like ACC and Big 12. They're not playing enough competition for a 2-loss team to make unless they win their conference championship. And that's not what Notre Dame gets a chance to do. So if they're not winning, they don't have the competition like the SEC and the Big 10 does. They're not going to make it. I think Navy is actually a really good competition. Their
I do
quarterback
too.
Their quarterback is fresh. It's new this year at starting. They've been irrelevant for the last 3 years, and then they bring this quarterback who's been great. Not only that, they have a safety who is a potential All-American this year and on a NFL draft board. I mean, they got defense too. Their only game Navy has come close to was against Memphis was 56-44. They put 56 points on Memphis when everybody was
That's
talking about Memphis
wild.
being great. You
Right.
know,
That's
and yeah,
wild.
and the other games like what Air Force 34-7, and that should be that game they didn't score more because those military schools they want that bragging rights. So I knew
Right.
they weren't going to score as many because they're going to take a lot of time possession off. Uh,
Yeah.
and then you got Temple 38-11. You got UAB 41-18. Bucknell, I think they play 49-21. They're
Yeah.
scoring a lot of points on these teams, and
So
it's going
Derek,
to translate.
Does Navy get in with one loss?
No,
They lose
Navy
to
doesn't
Notre
get them.
Dame. If
They
they
lose
lose to
Notre Dame.
Notre
They're not.
Dame,
They still don't get in. Not with Boise State.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially because of UNLV. I know that they just lost recently
Hmm.
to Syracuse, I think, but
Right.
um, they were ranked, so they'll be on that cusp as well. And Boise's going to play them twice, so
Hmm.
um, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be tough.
Hmm.
And Boise just
Yeah.
has that of the relevant or like the brand recognition, and
Yeah.
I do
And
think
what
that
really,
kind of does play to it.
yeah. I think Navy has a better shot if they win out and get in the playoffs over
Yeah.
Notre Dame,
Yes.
especially with
Yeah. Like.
especially with the
Yeah.
Army going and running the table because Navy Army the
Yeah.
Navy Army games never counted because by the time they put the Navy Army game, they've already picked the playoff people in the playoffs. They already picked the bowl games. That game
Yeah.
doesn't really count. So does the record, but they're going to play in the championship game if they both win out because they won't play each other until after the championship game. But since if they win out, they'll be playing in the championship game. So yeah,
Oh,
that would be like crazy because Navy's
could you imagine
undefeated.
they pick one over
And
the other when they're both undefeated,
Oh my
and it's
gosh.
like, and then
no,
they play
no,
each other?
only one.
Wow.
This is why I think Navy jumped Boise State. If Boise State wins out and wins the championship, and Navy goes in and beats Notre Dame, who is 11th ranked right now, and then Army beats Notre Dame, and they both go undefeated into their championship, and Navy wins that or Army. Actually, Navy has the more signature win. I don't know if Army plays Memphis. If Navy wins, I just don't see Boise State getting in over
Yeah.
Navy.
No, yeah, I agree. I agree. I think an undefeated Navy for sure is going to make it in over a one loss Mountain West champion.
Hmm. And Boise State doesn't have a good tier win like like Navy will.
Yeah. Washington.
So,
Washington State they were on the cusp of being ranked. They were 4-0 when Boise smoked them. We don't really know, and I know it's
Not
they're in the
anymore. They're not on the cusp of it anymore.
yeah
when Navy plays Notre Dame, they're going to be in the top 10. Okay, that's the difference.
Yeah.
yeah
So
yeah.
so Sam, you kind of brought up an interesting scenario. You brought up Bama and it made me think of this. What if Bama has two
Oh,
losses
doesn't make the SEC championship.
and they make the SEC championship and lose? Can
Well, there was a
Bama
year that
get
they made it
in?
when they didn't even make it.
So yeah, so can they make if whatever it lines up where they get in and they get in over Georgia? Let's say Georgia loses another game, Bama gets in with the tiebreaker to go and play. I don't know. Let's just say Texas, and Texas beats them. Can you put Alabama in with that third loss in the SEC championship if it's close? And that would mean that Alabama had beaten Tennessee. They had beaten Auburn at the end of the year. They had beaten, I think they play OU. They had beaten LSU. Can you keep those Alabama boys out of there because they had to play an extra game in the conference championship and happened to lose?
You know
That's
what?
gonna
I
hurt them.
said this.
I think losing.
No,
Yeah, it's gonna. You think
no, it
losing
won't.
in the
No,
oh,
I've stated it multiple times. The teams that play in the SEC championship will be in the playoffs. That's how hard the SEC is. Teams in
Yeah,
the
even
SEC
if they
championship will
lose.
be.
So you're saying so this is a
Yes,
third loss that they can get you
that's the
can get in.
scenario. That's the one scenario Alabama gets in. But that
Okay.
has to work their way because you
Yeah.
still got Texas A&M who could win out. I mean, there's a
I'm not
lot
ready to
of
start talking A&M
Yeah,
as SEC champion yet. I'm just not
there's
uh, not
it
ready to
has to
do
go their
that.
way. There's a lot
We
has to go
don't
their way for that to happen.
Yeah, we don't know Mizzou's situation. I also think Mizzou prepared for the wrong quarterback. And I want to see now how other SEC teams prepare for Wigman, knowing he's going to play. So there's just I want to see A&M. I don't know. I'm not saying that they're frauds or anything. I want to see it first before we get too much into A&M. Also, Texas has to finish the season at A&M. So regardless if they're elite or good, that's going to be a tough game for Texas. Going to Kyle Field at the end of the season. If Texas has 2 losses going into that game, that could knock them out.
Well, not the playoffs. Now with 2 losses, especially when they're number 1 right
No,
now.
no, 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 no. Going into the game,
Oh, with 2 losses?
yeah,
We
and they
losing to
lose at the
Oklahoma,
Oklahoma and Georgia, for example,
that'd
or
be tough.
man, but you put UT and
Oklahoma and
Alabama, if they both
Arkansas,
have,
or Georgia and Arkansas. They lose to
bro,
Georgia
yeah,
and Arkansas and Vandy. They lose to Arkansas and
He's oh,
Vandy.
he's
yeah,
holding
I was
his
about to,
breath right now.
yeah,
Uh,
No, it's
but
not happening.
anyway, all right. I guess
Texas
we'll finish
A&M,
with this segment. Oh, did you want to say something, Derek?
well, Texas A&M still is undefeated. I just want to let you know that
They're not
Texas
undefeated
A&M is they're undefeated in the SEC.
in the SEC. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
fair.
Guess
Fair.
what?
Fair. Yeah.
Guess
So you're
what?
talking about
They
for
could
the
win.
SEC
They could.
championship. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
they could go LSU and beat them. If they beat LSU, guess what? They could go all the way to Texas, still lose to Texas, and still get in the SEC championship, and then play
Okay,
Texas
I
again.
see your point now. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I see your point.
Hmm. It's the most realistic one of any bowl picks out there.
All right.
Makes Notre Dame look really good.
I think you're muted, Sam.
yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Sorry, my dog's out. So
Okay, okay. Um, all right. Well, I guess we'll go to the next segment. We'll start predicting some of these games.
it's good.
Yes, sir. All right. We got LSU going to Ole Miss. So let's see here. The spread for this game is. Let's see here. What is the spread for this game? Derek, are you seeing the
They're
spread on your end?
3.5.
Or it's 3.5. Yep. Yep.
Ole
Ole
Miss
Miss.
3.5.
LSU. So it's basically a
Yep.
toss. It's at LSU. Yeah, so it's a toss up.
Well, it's Ole Miss 3.5.
Oh,
This is going to be a high scoring game,
LSU.
man.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh wow.
This is
I
going to be like
know.
a 70-point game. Not a
It
total
actually
score.
might be. It might actually
Total
be.
score.
The
It's
over
not
under
going
is
to.
64.5.
Yeah, that's going to be like 70 because
Yeah.
Ole Miss.
That just makes me smile thinking back to A&M LSU.
Hmm.
Whenever when it was like, what was it, like set 63-60 something?
Oh yeah, and all those
You remember that game?
overtimes.
Yeah, and then they changed the rule to make it so you had to go for 2. Like right after
Hmm.
that, they were like, "Yeah, no more of that. And we're not doing 6 overtime." I was like, "No, 7
But
We
overtime.
all
yeah,
Hey,
liked it.
keep it going."
Yeah.
the Rebels versus
Man,
the Kittens.
I'm gonna take LSU in this one. A night game in Death Valley. You can't go against him. Whiffin Kiffin, he's gonna go in there and he's gonna whiff. He's not gonna be able to do it. Bro couldn't even take care of Kentucky at home. You're not going to LSU and winning at Death Valley at night. No way. I'm taking LSU money line on this one.
Yeah, I'll go LSU as well.
Do you like
Yeah,
money line or points?
Mm,
Plus 3.5, or do you think they'll just win outright?
no, it's gonna no the 3.5. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna win.
by the way, it's over under 61.5. The start out was 64.5. So it's actually even better to do the over. I do believe. I hate to tell you this, but I'm gonna go Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss blows out LSU. I really do. I think Ole Miss finds some spark, and they finally get their signature win. They piss off somebody, and yeah,
Yeah, you might be
and
right. I mean, I could see it. I could see Ole Miss just because you kind of saw a spark against South Carolina. I'm still taking LSU just because I just think that Lane Kiffin in some of these big games, he just doesn't do it. But
mhm.
at the same time, I don't know how big of a competition LSU is right now. But I just, dude, Death Valley, man, I just don't like betting against Death Valley at a night game. So,
Mhm. LSU's undefeated in the conference too.
mhm.
But the kittens are not going to
Well,
win this.
they're 1-0, Derek.
Yeah,
Kittens.
their seasons. They played so many, all of one.
Yeah,
I
man,
mean,
they're dominating that conference right now.
that
1-0,
USC game.
baby.
Wow.
Yeah. Uh,
So yeah,
anything else you
really.
guys want to add about this game, Sam? Anything that you wanted to add?
Nah,
All
not
right.
on this one.
Okay, then let's go to the Ohio State Oregon game.
That's a good game.
Yeah, I think that's
Mhm.
actually going to be. I mean, depending on how UT OU is, I mean, I think Ohio State Oregon is might be that marquee game this week. I think it might be the
So
one to watch.
Ohio State's favored by 3
Hmm.
on the
Yeah,
road.
yeah, on the road. I think I'm gonna go with Ohio State. I do think they're gonna pull this one out,
Yeah, I do too. I think
making
they're going to beat the
a statement
spread.
game.
You think that
That
they beat the
50.
spread? Three and a half,
Uh,
or 3 points is the
oh yeah,
spread.
yeah, I do. Yeah, they will.
You know what? This 53.5 over under is quite low. I mean,
I don't
I,
know. Ohio State's defense is legit.
Yeah, I'm thinking. Yeah,
well, here,
what?
Dylan Gabriel. Let me put it
I'm
out
more
there.
confident on that other over under the LSU game than this one. I think that this
Uh,
could maybe turn into something that
Really?
we don't expect.
you telling me that it's not gonna? I know it. I would agree with 60 points being over under, but if anything less, you better be picking that over. You're talking about uh, 30 something to 20. Okay, you really think it's going to be like that, or you think it's going to be a shootout?
I don't know. Some of those Ohio State games can be like that though. Like sometimes, like in this type of situation, when you think that there's going to be a bunch of scoring, it just ends up being like a bunch of stupid mistakes, turnovers, and it becomes
And
like
yeah, late game heroics types thing, just to
right,
keep them in the game,
exactly.
or not. Yeah, or just
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. And
But
Ohio State's a defensive team, man. Like they really are, and I think Oregon is going to play to that too. Is that they're going to focus so hard on stopping Ohio State's offense because if they can't stop Ohio State's offense, they're in trouble because
you know,
their defense is legit.
the thing is, my biggest wish is Ohio State smashes Oregon and brings a Boise State loss way down.
ugh,
Oh, look what he's doing.
no. We're supposed to be rooting for the blue.
But that's the thing. That's what sucks about Boise State being part of the Mountain West.
I
Luckily
know.
they're
Hey,
going to
not
the
And now
next
the
year.
Pac-12.
Pac-12. Hey, bro, Pac-12, bro. Put some respect on
Mhm.
the Pac-12 of Fresno, Utah, all the state
I
schools.
still
Oh
think the Pac-12 should go after Texas State, man. Texas
no,
State has
yeah,
done
They
pretty well.
probably will.
yeah. No, I think that
You
they
know,
will. Yeah,
but right
because
now Texas State's staying off the record right now. I think they were trying to get them to go to the Mountain West, and I don't think they want to. I think they
yeah, I think
really want to
they're
go to
gonna
the
take.
Pac-12.
Yeah, and I would do that. I mean, yeah, I would rather go to the Pac-12 if I was Texas State. And then it sucks because like UTSA, UNT, they all committed still to staying with the American. But I mean, who knows what's gonna
Oh,
happen with that? But
stupid.
yeah, I know that the Pac-12 just wants a Texas team bad, and with how
Yeah.
much Texas State has invested in their program in recent years, I could see them easily pulling them over.
Yeah.
Although,
Well, the thing is, they're going to
is
make
Texas
more
State a
money
tier one
and
research university?
hmm?
Is Texas
What was
State a
that?
tier one research? Are they a tier one research university? Like, does the
Um,
Pac-12 used to have like stipulations? Because it used to be kind of like, oh, we're like academically like better than everybody. But I don't.
they got
They may have
research.
released.
Come on, they got a tier one research team. They depending on what subject you're talking about, but they always go down and they're big in their geography research team. They also big in but they have political figures on their team on their school too. They literally have what's his name? The guy from El Paso is now teaching at Texas State, who ran for president.
I don't know.
Yeah, he also ran against Ted Cruz.
Um.
Starts with a
I
B,
don't know.
but he now teaches at Texas State.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
So we'll see what they end up doing if they decide to move or not. But
he's
I
in
mean,
Texas.
would you take the Mountain West over the Sun Belt?
Hell yeah, they're only getting $2 million in TV deals at the Sun Belt. Mountain West is
Isn't
getting like 7 million.
Yeah.
But
and even
the
then,
thing is,
yeah,
the Pac-12 is getting 8 to 15 million, depending on who goes to that team. I mean that conference. So that's why I think Texas State's waiting for the Pac-12 because they want to be a part of that. And if they have 10 teams, and that's all they need to be recognized as a conference, the split's going to be great.
Yeah.
And now
Well,
they're talking
let's.
about now they're talking about TV deals being part of the NIL deal, NIL, where some of that TV deal has to go to the players.
mhm.
So
Let's get to some of these other games um before we got to get out of here because we are
Yeah.
running out of time. Um let's go to the big finale, the Red River rivalry. We got Texas and OU playing in Dallas, Texas. The spread is 14.5 in favor of Texas. In
Oh,
my opinion, that is absolutely ridiculous for this matchup. I'm going to take the points on Oklahoma all day on this one because I think it is far more likely that Oklahoma loses a close one or could possibly even win this game than get smoked by more than 14 points. I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying that it is more
yeah.
likely that this game is going to be close or even a Oklahoma victory. I have seen this game play out where the team that doesn't look like they have a shot ends up winning plenty of times in this matchup. It's been Texas before, it's been OU before, and never use stats for this game. Just sit back and watch and just flip a coin. So I'm going to take
yeah,
plus 14 Oklahoma on this one.
What's the over under on this one?
It's going to be 50 and a half.
I'm gonna take the over.
Mm.
yeah,
I think it's gonna be. Oh
I mean, this one
man,
could
I
be an
actually don't.
ugly one. Like this one could be like a defensive battle because Texas has a
Yeah,
good
yeah. I was gonna
defense
say,
and OU does
dude, they're
too.
crazy.
OU
Yeah,
does not want to have a shootout with Texas. They want this to be low scoring and a bully ball
yeah.
attack.
Yeah. It's just when it's like a
this,
rivalry like this,
I
it's just
know.
different. The
this
intensity.
is
It's like you
also
never
the
know. Like,
this is also the best defense that Texas is going to be playing up to this point. His OU's
Right.
defense. Look at them against Tennessee. They really make Tennessee
Yeah.
work. You know.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
Yeah,
look
they
at the
almost did
past.
as well against Tennessee as Arkansas did. Like they
Now,
almost did as well as them.
did you know that the past 15 years of these rivalry games, the plus has always been of like you always say it's 14.5 right now. You
Yeah.
betting the plus 14.5 will be a better chance winning because I think in the past 3 years, only 3 times it's actually gone the minus way.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it doesn't matter
It,
who's
it
on the team.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Whenever I see that in a rivalry game like this, and I do this all the time with Alabama and Auburn, Georgia and Auburn. If there's a big plus points on there, I take that every time. There was a time that
Yeah.
Alabama was favored against Auburn by 21 points. That game went to overtime.
Mm-hmm.
So
I might take that bet too.
yeah, it's just you're taking plus 14 Oklahoma,
I mean, I always win, but you know what? If I get proved wrong, I'll be like, good job, Texas. Good job. I'm gonna
huh?
lose big, right?
Beat him softly, would you, Texas? Don't beat him
You
too
know,
hard.
if I go win money, you might as well pull out you, okay? Like,
Sam, what are you thinking on this one for the spread here?
Mm,
14 and a half, Texas.
man, I don't know. At first I thought that it might be a shootout, and it might go high, and that Texas might cover. 14 points? No way. No. I don't think they cover that. I think it's going to be
Mm-hmm.
closer.
mhm.
Yeah, I think it's possible. It's just I don't think it's as likely as the alternative. I think
Yeah.
that it's like a 70% likelihood that it's going to be closer than that. Even if OU doesn't even win, I think it's going to be closer than that 70% more likely.
Yeah.
And yeah,
What was the score
so
from a couple years ago when UT blew them out? Because
it
didn't they
was
like
like
trade like
49 to
40
0
to
or something.
right? And then the next year, didn't
49.
OU
Yeah.
OU won the next year, right?
OU
Last
won
year?
the next
Yeah,
one.
Texas is
Yeah.
Right.
favored.
Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, So that would be a good one too, actually.
Mm-hmm.
That one in Oregon
Mm-hmm.
and Ohio State. I think those are the two big ones.
That's price is 2:30. What time's the Oregon game? Because if they're both in the same time, that's messed up. They need to fix that.
If it's late
Oregon
too, because it's
game
in
is at
Oregon.
6:30. We got Ole
Okay.
Miss and
Ooh.
Oregon at the same time. Oregon, Ohio State, Ole Miss, LSU at the same time.
Nobody's
Um,
gonna be watching Ole Miss LSU.
so let's do this. Let's do this game too. There's actually two games that I quickly want to go over, and that's Penn State at USC and Colorado hosting Kansas State. So let's start at Penn State real quick. What do you guys think? Penn State's favored by 4.5 here. The over under is 50.5. USC is hosting. I personally think
Yeah.
USC are frauds. I think Penn State's going to go in there. I do not think Penn State's a top 4 team, which they are ranked that right now. I don't think that's accurate, but I do think that they're good enough to go to USC and beat them pretty convincingly. I'm going to take PSU minus 4.5.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Mm,
Just because I think Lincoln Riley's, I don't know, it's definitely falling right now. So USC is
Yeah,
definitely on that pretenders watch or fraud watch right now. But we'll
right.
see. Yeah. So I think I would take Penn State as well. They're ranked
Okay.
4. Is that what you said?
4. Yeah. Yeah. That's what you're looking at right now. That's a
um,
4.
What?
Yeah.
What? Okay.
eh,
Who have they?
I
Wait.
got my
Who
bold
have they played?
prediction here. I got
Yeah.
my
Okay.
bold prediction. I got Penn State losing to USC because I think Penn State's a fraud too. I think USC is just better than Penn State, even though they're both frauds.
I think
Uh,
Penn State is a top 15 team.
Penn
Like,
State should be ranked.
I don't know
No,
about
I'm
that,
joking.
Derek. Like,
I'm
I.
joking. I'm just messing with that. No, but I do. If Penn State barely beat Bowling Green, you
So
know,
did A&M.
you know who beat Bowling Green? I think it was Bowling Green. I think
A&M barely beat them. And you've been speaking so high of A&M lately.
anyone's found their spark. Doesn't count. It's like
I don't know. Whenever it
Big
uh,
comes to those
Louisville.
small schools, don't put too much in those wins or losses. Well, actually, put it in if it's a loss. Put a lot into that. But if they win, like Tennessee was torching everybody, then they play Arkansas and they look like a high school football offense.
Arkansas
The
can't capitalize. Sorry,
well, I'm just
Arkansas.
saying Tennessee
Yeah.
was like they came in with the number one offense, coming into that game, and then they couldn't even put up 20 points. I think it was it 19-14. They couldn't get more than 2 scores, and they had this insane offense because they had been playing no competition. So I don't know.
Yeah, I
Just
think
don't
Boise.
take
I
too
think
much
it's
from
actually
them.
has the number. Well, I don't know. It might be close. I think Boise was like in the top 5, and then I
They
thought
probably are now. They probably are
I think
now.
yeah, because Miami was number 1. I think recently with most points per game, and it's crazy. It was like 40 or 50 points. Wild.
Yeah. So
Mm.
Derek, you're gonna take USC by how much? How much do you think USC is gonna win by?
3.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
they ain't gonna be able to
All
blow 'em,
right,
yeah.
boys. Colorado hosting Kansas State. Let's end on this one. I'm going to take Kansas State. I've got to see Colorado prove that they're a legit team before I'll believe it. I got to see it with my eyes. Beating Baylor is not good enough. I got to see them beat a legit, although I'm not so sure Kansas State is legit, but this is a quality win if Colorado wins. What about you,
I
Sam?
think I think Colorado wins. I think Shador actually has a really good game. Like I think it's going to be uh, just a kind of like one of these surprising games where Colorado's going to be back, and then they're going to play another Big 12 team that they should win after beating a really good Kansas State. Well, really good, but it's still to be seen. But if they do, they might lose some games later. But I actually do think that Colorado is going to beat Kansas State
Derek
because
is
they're
mad at
hosting.
your takes. Yeah, Derek's mad at you
Colorado's
right
gonna
now.
fall. Colorado's gonna fall asleep. Kansas State's gonna blow them out. It's not gonna be 4.5. It's gonna be by 14. Kansas State,
Ooh, dang.
Ooh, ooh.
Big
Okay.
12 champions, right there.
Well, Derek just jinxed Colorado into a great victory this weekend. He did the
No, no,
same thing
I don't
to
have.
Dang it! I
the
should have rooted
Miami
for Oregon.
spread.
Should have rooted for
You
Yeah.
Oregon.
know what? You know what? I don't have to jinx jinx Kansas State because Dion jinxes his team anyway. So there.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. The president was like, I hope Deion stays forever, and I'm like, I don't know if you want that,
I don't know
right?
if you want that. I don't know. I think it's good, and it's good for the university. They're getting a bunch of attention and publicity.
Oh yeah,
It
nobody was talking about it,
Yeah,
before
it
this.
does. It does get to be a lot after a while, where it just like every headline is about something that Dion is saying, or every headline is trying to undermine his program and what he's saying, and then you get stuff taken out of context, blasted across for clickbait stuff. So, but if they start winning, that will make it a lot more interesting. It's annoying seeing all this stuff around it when they're not winning. And this is their
Right.
chance to do that. If they start here and start getting above 6 wins a season, if they can get to 8 wins, something like that, that's whenever it's like, okay, let's actually start talking about this guy more and what is he doing over there that's working,
Right. Yeah. Hmm.
All right. Well, with that being said, Sam, thanks so much for coming on. Derek, put those horns down. Everybody watching this video, please hit that like button if you enjoyed our takes. Please hit that subscribe button if you want to see more of our takes, and comment down below if you liked Sam being on the pod. If you want him back on here, if you like some of his takes, if you like Boise Blue, comment down below. And as Derek is letting everybody know, please hit that notification bell if you really want to be behind our content. Derek, put those horns down. Also, for Derek, put a horns down in the comments section, or you know what, if you're a Texas fan, we welcome you guys to put them up as well. So,
A&M fans, put your thumbs
A&M
up.
fans, yeah, if you want,
There you go.
put that up. Razorback fans, of course, come on through, support your boy. Boise for Sam over here, Boise Blue. And, with that being said, thank you guys. We love doing this stuff. We love talking sports. And we'll be back here next week. And until then, see you guys next time.
Peace out.